Hello, welcome to Spell Weaving with Lulu. For those of you who are brand new to me, welcome, my name is Lulu. I've been a practicing Wicca for almost 30 years, which is why I feel I have the experience and the knowledge to be able to impart this program to you. So the idea is that once a month we meet together, now online, and those of you who are in the north of the country, Scotland, Yorkshire, and my American contingent, hi California, hi Florida, this is for you online as well until we're no longer in lockdown. So the idea is that once a month we look at the craft of spells. Now I've called it spell weaving because that's what we do when we form a spell together. We weave different energies, we weave different threads and we put them together. You've already received my email with the information pack, which I hope you've had a read through. If you've got it in front of you now, that would be a good idea. Or if you've even got it up on your laptop, if you want to pause this now and go and get it. I will try not to just read it through to you because this is more of a tutorial sort of backing up the information that I've already given you. Okay, shall we start then? So, what is magic? What is magic? Magic is energy. Everything is energy. Isn't that fantastic? We hear mention of this energy when we think of auras and chakras, but every single thing is energy. Look around you at the moment. What can you see in your house, in your bedroom, wherever you happen to be? What can you see? It's energy. You are energy. My desk, the wood, is energy. So let's take a step back. Think of being in a complete and utter black room. This is the analogy that I gave in the handout. Think of being in a black room and all of a sudden you have this white, sparkling ball of light in front of you and it's shimmering away. That is the source of energy. Now, the name that you choose to give that source is down to you, and I don't think there's any right or wrong name. So when I think of that source, I think of it as the one. I think of it as the one, sometimes expressed through the goddess and the god, the feminine and masculine energies. I think a Christian looks at that energy and they see it as God. I think a Hindu sees it, and it sees it as their Krishna, Brahma, and all of their different deities. So basically that's what I would call divine energy. Now that divine energy leads tendrils, those little silver streams, into us, and then we have our energy, our personal power energy. So you've got our divine energy, our personal power energy, and then you've got our third energy, which is what I would call Gaia energy. Really, it's Earth energy, it's our planet's energy, and our planet happens to be called Earth. But I think we can get a little bit confused if we think of our four elements, which Earth is one of them. So rather than Earth energy, I want to call it Gaia energy. Gaia energy, fire, water. You can't see that because it's down low. I'll hold it up, water, air. And then our earth energy, our earth is wood, it's soil, it's the wax that makes candles, it's living creatures. That's our third type of energy, our Gaia earth energy. So when we are talking about magic, what we are saying, and I think that I said at the beginning that my definition is that magic is a sympathetic connection of energies. So it's a sympathetic connection of energies producing an effect. So when we perform a spell, we are bringing out our energy as our intention, what it is we want to achieve. We are using Gaia energy as the vessel of that spell. It could be your vessel is a candle, it could be the vessel is string. I was looking for string, I had some there earlier. It could be string if you're doing a knot spell. It could be anything that comes from Gaia. That's the second part. That's the cradle of it. So you've got your personal energy, the cradle of it, and then you're making contact with that divine energy, and you're calling that divine energy in however you recognise it. And you have to have a relationship with that divine energy. It has to be someone who you pray to, you talk to, you call on, you say thank you to them. I always give the example, those of you who know me, you've heard this before, I always give the example of making a cake. If I was making a cake, obviously not while we're in lockdown, but if I was making a cake and I needed help, I wouldn't go outside and say to a stranger, come and help me, because I'd say, well, should I? Was this weird woman anyway? But I might phone up my friend and say, oh, can you come and give me a hand? They go, yeah, sure, fine, great, I'll come and help you, because I have that relationship with them. The reason why we pray, the reason why we find out about the divinity that we believe in, is so that we build that relationship of gratitude, that relationship of trust. So therefore, however you are coming to this spell weaving from, if you're coming to it from a witch, Wiccan, shaman, druids, pagan pathway, find your deities, get to know them, make them your friends. Right, so that was basically what is magic, okay? Yes, it's lovely. It's not Harry Potter. It isn't really very, very mystical. It's energy that we're using. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so then types of spell. Right, so each month we will look at a focus spell and a focus type of energy. And I thought we would start off with elemental energy. Now, elemental energy, what am I talking about? We have earth, air, fire, water. They are four basic elements, and if you truly understand what those elements mean, they go across disciplines. So whether it's runes, Norse mythology, tarot, astrology, magic, performing spells, the elements mean the same throughout. So it's worth getting to really understand and know those elements. So therefore, when we're looking at elemental magic, we are looking at things like I just mentioned, using tarot cards, using runes, using astrology as part to incorporate. It's herbs. Where are my herbs? I've got rosemary here from the garden I'm going to go, that we will use later on. Herbal magic. You have all different people call themselves different things. Oh, I'm a kitchen witch, I'm a herbal witch. It's all the same. If you use magic and spells in cooking, that is elemental magic as well. You are calling on the four elements, earth, air, fire and water. You're looking at the correspondences of the actual food, of the plants that you are using. I gave you a list there of all of the different types of elemental magic. Next month is going to be knot magic, which will really look at herbs and knots. And the knot magic, if you like, that's the carrier of how we are putting the spell through. This month we are using a candle as our carrier, as our spell magic. So that's basically what we're talking about now with elemental magic. Next, correspondences. I want you to imagine when you might have a spell, when you are creating a spell, it's a bit like if you was making soup. Now, you can put a few ingredients in and it will give you the desired effect. Great, it will be a soup, tastes lovely, it's good for you. However, you know, the more ingredients that complement each other, the better the flavour of the soup. It could be that the more different vegetables you put in, the more beneficial to your health it would be. Okay, think of a spell like that. Yes, especially now where things that are available to us are very limited, we can adapt. But if you find things that correspond for the same purpose, they will add power to your spell. So we are going to be looking later on at candle magic. Now, candle magic, we could look at colours, we could look at herbs and oils and the different sigils, the symbols that you're going to carve on them. We could put them all on it. However, if all you have is a white tea light, here's one I prepared earlier. If all you have is a white tea light and you haven't got rosemary, whether it's fresh in the garden or dried, that's all right. That's perfectly okay. Will it mean that your spell will not work? No, it won't. If you've got these things Would it give it an extra boost? Yes, it would. But energy understands. The god, the goddess understands. The elements understand. Especially at the beginning of any spell that we do, we can ask gratitude, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So, you see, I go off at a tangent, don't I? Let's get back to it. So basically, what I'm saying is, when we're looking at correspondences, yes, they add an extra flavour to our soup. This month, I've attached a very, very basic colour correspondence, because I don't think you want to be overwhelmed, for colours. For candle magic. Those colours work though for any type of magic you are doing. They all colour like sound and sound waves. It's on a vibration. Colour is on a vibration. Those of you who follow me on my Facebook page, Tarot Reader and Astrologer, I've started doing little sort of blogs, if you like, on the chakras. And if we take red, the reason why red is the colour that we have for traffic lights that signals danger is because red, the sound frequency that it, or the frequency that it travels on, the wave frequency that it travels on, the energy frequency, is a frequency which gets our attention. It's been, scientifically proven. So therefore, colours reside on different energy frequencies. And when we are using our personal magic that I mentioned, and we are using a colour, we are tuning our personal energy into the Gaia energy of that colour's signature. It's always good if you understand the reason behind these things. So you've got the list in front of you there of all the different colour correspondence. In my mind now, I'm imagining you looking down the list, right? You've got all of the list, so that's great. However, white can be used if you haven't got the other colours, so don't worry about it. If you want to, you've got a white candle, and it comes to making sigils, which are sacred symbols. A symbol means something. When it's a sigil, it means that you've blessed it and you've made that personal connection with it. When you are putting them on your candle, what you can do is you can use a paper clip or your nail to carve them on. If it's a white candle and you've got a green Sharpie, I'm sure other makes are available, you could, and you wanted to use green for maybe if you was doing healing, or if you wanted to use red if it was a white candle for passion or for creativity, then you could. And you're bringing the colour in. So there is a list there of the colour correspondences. Next month, our correspondences that I'm going to give you a list on are the main herbs and spices. So each month we're building it up. So you've got this sort of spell toolbox, if you like. Right, so that was our correspondences. So let's now get down to the nitty gritty. Before you come to do any form of spell work, what you need to do is to cleanse. Because what's happened is you've come and thought, okay, right, I need to do this spell. I've got everything in front of me. But you've also come in and attached to you are all of your concerns and your worries and your stress and your tensions. And you need to cleanse and you need to let go of those. So, those of you who come to my circles, you know we start with our bowl. So here I have my bowl, and in my bowl I put my fingertips in. And I just breathe. And I feel all of the concerns and the worries going into the water. There. I'm cleansing so that my mind, so that my energy, my personal energy, is free. It's completely, utterly free, and it's cleansed. So that my focus now will be on the spell weaving that I'm about to do. And then that water I would put to one side. I would throw it in the garden, pot plant, just get rid of it. So now I'm cleansed, and that's important. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to ground. And if you wonder what I'm doing, I'm taking my shoes off. You don't have to if you're not in a place where you can, but I'm grounding. So what does grounding do? Well, we've cleansed ourselves, and this is us preparing. Preparation is the key to a spell. So now I'm preparing myself. I'm settling down. I've got my feet flat on the ground. I'm going to put my fingertips down by my side, and then I would close my eyes. I'm going to imagine that my energy, I'm going to take a strand of my energy, and that energy is going to pass down my body, across my shoulders, down through my fingertips, down into the ground, and it's going to spread out deeper and deeper until it's secured by an elemental. I'm going to take a breath in and slowly exhale. I'm going to take another tendril of energy, pass it down my neck, down my body, through my legs, down into the ground below, going down deeper and deeper, taking that energy, my energy, until an elemental holds it, so I'm tethered like a kite, and I'm grounded to this time, to this place, and I will open my eyes. We are now grounded, which means here we are. Part of us, like a root of a tree, it's grounded. We've got an earth elemental that's holding it at us. So above ground, the energy that you are about to use, putting into your spell, and if you do a spell correctly, you're going to use up a lot of your personal energy. If you do that and you haven't grounded first, once you have finished casting the spell, you are going to feel exhausted. You are going to feel completely and utterly drained. However, you have grounded yourself, which means that some of your energy is still being held. So as soon as you finished your spell, okay, the elemental in the earth lets go, and you have that energy come back to you so that you don't feel tired and awful. That is why we ground. Grounding isn't just for spell work. If you suffer from anxiety, panic, fibromyalgia, any time when you feel ground, do that grounding exercise. If you're at work, if you're out, you can go to work alone, but if you're at work, if you're at home, people are getting annoyed, go into the bathroom, lock the door, ground. Okay, so that was our grounding. So we've raised our energy, we've grounded. Now I want to talk about protection. Now this is purely spell work. This isn't a Wicca or a witchcraft group. That's happening in April. But when it comes to protection, I've just been explaining that everything is energy. Now, we have positive energy. I like to think I'm a positive type of person. My glass, where's my goblet here? My glass, here, my goblet, okay, half full, it's refillable. It's always going in again. That's positive energy. And remember, we are tuning in to energy. We are calling on divine energy. We are calling on earth energy. Therefore, Gaia energy. Therefore, we want to attract positive energy. We want positive energy with what we are doing. We do not want negative energy. Sometimes negative energy we can pick up from people who are stressed, and we absorb it like a sponge absorbs water. We absorb this negative energy, especially if you're empathic. You absorb it. We don't want to do that when we're doing our spell work. We only want pure, clean energy. That's why we've just cleansed. That's why we've just grounded. So therefore, protection is important. First of all, anything that you are using in your spell work, and I'm looking down here and I know that you can't see down here, but I'm going to move my table now and see if I don't knock everything over. Right, you probably still can't really see it, but trust me, there's a table down here. So here's my table, right? Here's my table with the things that I'm going to need for the spell that we're going to do. Now, before I use these things, I would cleanse them, and I'm cleansing them as a form of protection so that any residual negative energy they might have picked up, a bit like our coronavirus that we've got at the moment, we've cleansed it out of the way. So I would use I've got my sage stick here. Oops, just got it. Right, okay. This is one I made earlier, and it's funny because above the camera I've got all my other sticks, right? So therefore I would use my sage stick to actually, the smoke, I'm not going to do it because I've already done it, to waft over the candle that I was using to cleanse it. I would cleanse also the rosemary. Some runes I've got here, I would sage them all. Other herbs are available. I would cleanse them in some way. How do we cleanse? We can use sage, which is an incense, as a form of a smudge stick. If you can't use incense because of you're asthmatic or because it upsets you, then using the steam of a herbal tea works exactly the same. If you put the herb or dried herb into water, steep it, use the steam exactly the same way to cleanse. You can cleanse things if they're suitable in water. Cleanse through the elements. You can cleanse it through sound. Because what we are doing, remember, energy comes along, and when we disturb that energy, and that's what we're doing with the sage, with the sound, we're breaking up all of that negativity. You can use salt. Salt is the go-to for all cleansing and protection. Okay, so you've cleansed everything that you're going to need for your spell. And as I said, the next thing is protection. We talk about casting a circle. I think the majority of you who are tuned in for this will know how to cast a circle. I'm also aware that I think I've got 6 of you who are not. So when we cast a circle, we are looking at the elements: earth, air, fire and water. You can do the whole, what I call kit and caboodle, which I've put down, or basically you can just say, if you're working with gods and goddesses, if you're working with a god or a goddess, gods, goddess, spirits and elementals of north, east, south and west, I ask you to be with me, lend your power, your strength and your protection to my spell. Blessed be. As simple as that. Now as I said that, I always have my hands upwards. We do in the goddess tradition. And I could feel the energy. I could feel the energy of them swirling around me now. Now you can make that as fancy as you want to. Basically what you are doing is you are looking at each of the elements, each of the quarters for earth. You might see a nice mountain protecting you, or it could be a brick wall or a wooden fence. You might decide to look up earth gods and goddesses and call them to help. Then you might look at the fire, and for fire you might see flames protecting you. Again, look at the names of the gods and goddesses. Fire, what does fire mean? Fire is protection, fire is passion. Then it might be water, a wall of water protecting you, keeping your energy safe after you've cleansed it and protected, calling on the gods and goddesses of water, Poseidon, Artemis, Diana, Aphrodite. You might then go to air, and with air you would see beautiful clouds floating by, clear fresh air. Call on the gods and the goddesses of air, Odin, Iris. Call on the ones you work with. If you are new to this and you're not familiar with gods and goddesses, purely think of the elementals, so that by the time you've finished, and I rattled it off there a bit, by the time you've finished, you've created this protective wall around you. Okay, fantastic. So, next, I said about how you raise energy, because before you actually do your spell, you have to know how to raise energy. Settle yourself. When I talk about energy, when I talk about my passion, I'm doing it now. I feel it here. I feel this passion coming inside. That is my energy. Now, when you are raising energy, you are at one with your intention, with what you want to do. Close your eyes a second. Open your eyes. Put your hands like this now. Close your eyes. Right. Just make contact with your body. Feel it. Feel that tingling in your hands. When you think of something that you want to achieve, you can feel inside you a power and energy starting to grow and grow and grow. Open your eyes. That's raising energy. That's how we raise energy up. What we are doing is we are taking the energy inside us. Remember what I said about that vibration? We're making the vibration become higher and higher. And as it builds, it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger until it's like a crescendo building. and that's raising energy. Next month we're going to look at how we raise energy through sound, through chanting, through drumming. If you haven't done it before, to start with, you might think, oh, this is a bit strange, or oh, well, I'm in a house full of people, and you know, that's fine. We're going to discuss all of that next month. So that's raising energy. The next thing, which is vitally important, which I have put in your notes to make sure you watch the tutorial, is visualization. With a spell, your intention is key. Intention is important for everything. I'm a great one for intention. You've got to have an intention, even when you wake up in the morning. If you wake up and you think, oh, what am I going to do today? Oh, I might do this, I might do that. No, wake up with an intention. Even if the intention is, I'm going to get up and clean the bathroom. It's an intention, and once you've done it, you focus your energy into it. And oh, okay, right, I know what I'm doing. So when we come to visualization, whatever your intention is, that is what you intend your spell to achieve. You have got to be 101% committed for that. You've got to be able to see it, taste it, feel it, hear it. You've got to own that intention, because that is you raising your personal energy, which we know is our 3 cornerstone energy. So therefore, intention is everything, but being able to see it. Now, recently at my at a wicker workshop I did, we practiced the technique of visualization. So now we're going to practice the same technique again. Put your palm. I want you to visualize in your palm a cube. Take a while to look at it. It's a cube. The cube has corners that are just sticking in your palm. And can you feel the weight of the cube? Feel it. How heavy is it? Is it very heavy? Is it light? Feel it. And feel the palm. Now look at the cube. Look at the colour of the sides. Are all the sides the same colour? Is the light shining on part of them? What is your cube made of? Is it wood? Is it plastic? Is it glass? Is it frozen ice? Really, really look at it. Look all the way around it. See it in every tiny detail. Now, when I say 3, we're going to throw the cube up just a little bit, and then we're going to catch it again. As you throw it, it's going to move slowly, and your eyes are going to watch it move up and move down as it then lands again on your palm. Are you ready? 3. And then it rests, and you feel it going back into your palm again. Now blow it, and it's going to dissolve. That is visualization. Practice that technique as many times a day, every day, until we next meet again. Because it doesn't have to be a cube, you can make it whatever you want it to be. Visualization is a key ingredient, because if you can see your intention in every detail, if you can use your senses for your intention, it's raising that energy. Now, we're getting down now to the nitty-gritty. So we've gone through all of those stages. Once you've cast your protective circle, then start with gratitude. Gratitude opens us up. If you wake up any morning and you feel down or worried or stressed out, it is because your mind is focusing on negative things, on worries. And look what I'm doing with my hands. We're so focused that our thinking and our energy, because we're talking about our energy, is just going down this tube. No, 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 we don't want that. We're about to do a spell. We want to open ourselves up, and we do that by saying thank you. So we say some gratitude, and we've always got something to be thankful for. Thank you that I get to spend this time with you each month. Thank you that I have all of the things in front of me that I need for this intention. thank you for the good night's sleep I had. Thank you that at the moment I'm healthy. Thank you that I have shelter, I have protection, I have food and water. All of my needs are met. I thank you. And as you are thanking, look at my hands, they've become wider. Let's start in the place of gratitude. So before you do any spell weaving, be thankful. Have that gratitude there, because we're opening up our energy. Okay, so I've given you a generic list, basically a step-by-step guide on how you perform a spell. Some of the things in there we haven't covered, and each month we're going to cover them in a little bit more detail. We're going to put a torch on and highlight them. Like I said next month is herbs and using sound for drumming and chanting to raise the energy level. Okay, so you've got a list there. Most important thing is your intention. What is your intention? What do you want to happen with this spell? And if you can't write it in a sentence, then it is too long and you are waffling. And it will just go out. It's got to be specific, and you've got to be careful with your wording. It's a little bit like the story of, you know, a genie with three wishes. You've got to be specific with it. So, if you was doing a money spell, for example, and you said, oh, I want money to come to me. I want money to come to me. Okay. Have you told me how much? No. Have you told me when you want it to come? No. Have you told me how you want it to come? If you say that, I would like lots of money to come to me, then it could be you're in a car accident and you get it through the fact that you are physically incapacitated and in a lot of pain and you suffer. You don't want that. It could be you get it as the form of a legacy and you might not want that. If you are very careful about the wording of it. Also, you haven't said when you want this money. It could be that you get this money through when you're 99 years old. That doesn't help you if you need to pay a bill next month. So you need to be specific. So think of this specific. So therefore, I would word it, supposing you have a bill, an unexpected bill comes in, I don't know, your cooker breaks down. I need £98.99 so that I can pay the engineer to fix my cooker by the end of the month. Let it harm none, so mote it be. You've said let it harm none, and you mean that. You don't want it to cause harm to anybody, not to yourself, not to your nearest and dearest around you. It's nice, it's succinct, it's to the point. When you write your intention out, and then just run it through those 3 filters that I've said. Have you been specific? Have you said what you want it for, when you want it by, and have you secured that no one will be hurt? Another thing with spellcraft. In my Wiccan way, we believe that anything that comes back to you comes back threefold. Karma is how other people look at it. If you put good out, good will come back again. If you are looking for spell work, which is more hex work, don't come to me, you won't find it. There are ways of banishing and getting rid of in a positive light, and that will be another month's work. So basically, that's the rule of thumb. Also, I put the other things to watch out with spells. You do not perform a spell for somebody else without asking their permission, even with the best intention in the world. Another example I've given before is that you could have a friend who's really, really poorly, and you think, oh, I'll send them a healing spell. It could be that that person needs that time off work, because while they're off, maybe with a flu or a broken leg, while they're off, it's giving them a chance to reevaluate their life, to decide actually this isn't the job, this isn't the career, this isn't the pathway I was on. So therefore, always check, always say to someone, is it alright if I send you healing energy? Would that be okay? It's polite. Okay, so you've got your guide spell. Now, the next thing we're going to look at, I'm just making sure that I haven't missed anything because I can skip things. The next thing we're going to look at is natural candle spell. So, with a candle spell, I am doing a workshop later in the year, I think it's in July, which is a candle workshop, which if you can get to me for it, it's going to be amazing. If you can't, then there's the online option, but you don't get to do the actual physical things. Anyway, with a candle spell, there are all different size, shapes of candles. If it's a short spell, a small candle. If it's a spell that you want to run over a couple of weeks or months, then you need a larger one. Now, you can sort of see what I've got on the table, but probably not. So first of all, at this stage, we've just talked about intention. I've got a book here. So before I get to the nitty gritty of it, and I would do this before I cast my circle, it's almost like a recipe list. Okay, what is my intention? You write your intention out. What method am I going to use for this spell? Well, we're using candle magic, so I'm going to need a candle, so I'd write down candle. Am I going to use a coloured candle? If you want to use a coloured candle, then write that down. If it was normal time happening, you could go out and buy a candle. At the moment, you're going to probably find whatever candle you've got indoors. That's fine. I'm going to do as with the tea light today for that express purpose, because I guess you probably have tea lights. You might not have all fancy candles. Also, if you have got a candle that's about to fall on the floor, what are you going to hold that candle in? You need to be safe. Okay, bear with. I could pause it, but I might never get you all back again. So, what are you going to put it in? My husband made these for me. And it's just some logs that we found when we went for a walk, and he drilled holes in them, and they've been used time and time again. Think things through. Okay, that's going to be nice and secure. If it's a tea light holder, then it could be, what coaster am I going to put it on? A coaster, something heat proof. Please be careful with candles, flames. Okay, that's the safety comment I've made. Be careful, be responsible. If you are going to use a white candle but you want to incorporate colour, then okay, what colour do I want to incorporate for what am I trying to achieve? And therefore find a pen. So I'm going to get a red pen there for what we're going to achieve. Next, are you going to use oil? We'll look at oils in another month, but basically the spell that I'm going to do to demonstrate is going to be to bring creativity to my courses. Okay, so to bring creativity, so I want to make them interesting and fun and exciting. I hope this one is so far, could be in a minute. To my courses. Have I put a time limit on that? No, I haven't. So I need to add that. You see the filters that I'm going through? So to bring creativities to my courses, and I'm going to put in the next 3 months. Lovely and specific there. Okay. Oil. Because I want creativity, I'm going to use sunflower oil. Anything to do with the sun, it's masculine energy. It's the element fire, which is creativity. So it's a double whammy. If you have vegetable oil, then use vegetable oil. If you have olive oil, then anything for feminine energy is great with olive oil, because it represents the goddess and the moon. Okay, what herbs? Well, I've got rosemary from New Beginnings, which I've got there, which I will in a minute show you what to do with that. It could be dried rosemary. Rosemary is a very good substitute if you haven't got a lot of herbs around. And I'm going to say this now. If you want to perform something and you haven't got the colour, or you haven't got the herb, or you haven't got the crystal, or you haven't got the spice, but you are drawn to something else, then use that. It is your own personal energy, making energy with that Gaia energy. So supposing I've just said to you, I'm going to use rosemary, and you think, okay, I want to use rosemary, and you go to your cupboard and you haven't got any dried rosemary, but there is another herb there that is literally on the shelf going, ooh, pick me, then pick that. That energy is calling to you. Listen to your personal energy, you've made a connection, use it. I would also add to that cinnamon. Cinnamon, when you using any spells, and people do laugh because I'm sort of the queen of cinnamon, for creativity, for anything to do with masculine energy, to do with sun energy, that is the spice of choice. In general, cinnamon gives an added boost to any of your spell work, so buy it in bucket loads. It doesn't matter if your herbs are fresh or if they're dried. These are some rose petals which I dried a couple of months back when somebody gave me some roses, and they're dried all lovely for me to use. It really doesn't matter. So I've written in there the herb that I'm going to use and the oil that I'm going to use. I then thought about the symbol. Okay, so a symbol. If you know runes and rune mythology, then you will have made that connection with the symbol. You would have gone through the process, you will understand what it means, and you can use it as a sigil. If you have not, then look them up, see which ones would benefit what you want to do, and really learn and find out about it. I feel very strong when it comes to runes and symbols. And I'm not saying this because I'm trying to plug it, but I'm doing a rune and Norse mythology online course because they are so important with runes, not just for divination, but once you have made your rune and you understand the god and the goddess and the power that it has, you can then use your symbol on things like candle magic. Okay, so if you want to put maybe your initials on it, if depending on what your spell is going to be for, what your intention is going to be for. So I'm going to use, I'm going to carve, I mean you can use a paper clip, or you can use your nail or a pin, anything that is sharp. So I'm just going to use my nail and I'm going to carve the rune for Freya, which is the goddess Freya's rune, and it's for fertility. And this is fertility of my ideas, fertility of my creativity. I'm also going to scribe in there the symbol of a ruse, which is for strength, to give me strength to keep going when I'm planning my courses out. It could be if you was doing a spell for healing, you might decide that you're going to carve a heart on there for love. You might carve the symbol of the astrological sign. If you was going to do something connected to the moon's energy, and next month we're looking at timings of spells as well, you might decide to either do a crescent or a full moon. Spend time thinking about what symbols, a symbol means it represents something. What it's going to represent means something to you and the energy of what your intention is, and you scribe that on the candle. So you've made your list now of all of the things you're going to do. You've got everything already. You've cleansed, you've ground, you've put up your protection, you've said your gratitude. You are now going to start off, and I've given you how to do the a spell candle. So now what I would do is I would sit here, I would carve in like I did. As I was carving, I'd carve in my symbol of fertility Freya, and I'm thinking about what that means. I'm seeing me sitting at my desk, getting excited about the course that I want to write. How can I make it exciting? How can I make it so that people have something, that they've got something to take home and they can use, and it's going to empower them and inspire them. Then I'm going to carve in a ruse, and I'm going to think of strength, my personal strength, so that when I'm writing these courses, when I'm delivering them, I don't get tired. I've got the energy, the passion there to sustain me. Now, because I'm using a tea light, if I was using a spell candle, then it's already red. But what I'm going to do now is, okay, I'm just going to go over those symbols now with my red pen. Don't know if you can see there. I'm going to write my initials there, write my astrological sign, I'm Cancer the crowd, and then I'm going to do a pentacle right the way across, as that incorporates all the elements and my divine goddess. So I've done that. Now, oil. Now, if you want to attract something to you, whether it's stirring a soup, stirring a hot drink that you have, if you want to attract something, you always stir it clockwise, which we call dissidil, clockwise. And as I go around with the oil, I'm seeing my intention. I'm seeing me delivering the courses. I'm seeing people being really happy, enjoying them, taking the knowledge, the information, inspiring them, feeling good about it. If you have got a candle like this, when you anoint it, if you want to attract something, you start from the wick end and you brush it forward, because you want to attract it. You want your intention, your energy, you want those things to come to you. If you was trying to get rid, if you was trying to banish something, you would stroke it away. So all the time, visualize your intention, see it happening, make contact with how that energy makes you feel, how good it makes you feel. Then take your herb, do exactly the same as you did with the oil, rubbing it over it again, making contact, visualizing your intention coming to being, and then put it in your holder. If without tea light, again sprinkle it around on top, and there you have it. Now it could be you decide your actual intention, you're going to talk into the flame and tell it. You might decide the intention you are going to write down. You might decide to fold it up and put it under the candle. If you've got a large candle, and try to do it so that you can actually see. Can you see here? No, you can't do it here. If you have a large candle, maybe it's going to be a spell that lasts a week or something, and you've got a big candle, you might decide to get a piece of paper, write the intention on it, fold it up, put it underneath it with the herbs, and then each night you light the candle, you think of your intention, you make the connection of your personal power going into the power of the Gaia energy, calling down the divine. You might decide to do that. For our one, we light it. So I've lit my candle, I'm holding it upright so that you can see yours on your table if you have an altar. I haven't gone into altars, that's a different course. If you have any questions about altars, please email me, any questions email me. So, you're thinking of your intention all the time and look into the flame. See it, feel it, watch it. Imagine how you feel. Feel your energy building up. Now this is the time when you planned your spell that you might want to do your chanting. Chanting is again raising energy. Even if it's one word, if you think of when we do our chakra meditations for the different chakras, each chakra has its own word, doesn't it? Om, om, om. Okay? One of my favourite chants for if I need instant confidence is earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, fire my spirit. And I'll say that slowly to start with, and I'll say build it up and build it up and build it up. And as I build it up, you will feel that raising of the energy that we discussed coming up through you. You will feel it getting stronger and stronger and stronger until it's at a point where you just whoosh, and then you wash it up. And that's when the spell's cast, that's when it's going up there. So, if you've got a chant, now might be the time that you chant it. It can even just be simple. Grant my intention, blessed be, grant my intention, grant my intention, grant my intention. That's really, really simple because I don't want to give you a formula, I want it to be yours. You might decide that purely by looking at the flame, by clapping, by drumming, that will raise the intention. As I say, we're going to look at that next month. Then, it depends whether you are going to then sit. I would sit for at least 5 to 10 minutes, bedding down my intention, seeing it in the flame light, seeing every part of it, feeling every part of it, how it's making me feel, how for my intention it will make others feel. Then at the end, if you used a small candle and you want to sit there, it is finely burnt out, great. But you've got to decide if, say, you are not, and for this spell what I would do is, for the next couple of evenings, I'd spend 15 minutes each evening lighting my candle, looking into it, refreshing the power and the energy of the spell. How are you going to put it out? There are lots of people who feel that if you blow out a candle, it is an insult to the spell that you have cast, and they will use a snuffer. I personally feel it depends again what the intention is. If when you are at your planning stage and you have thought, okay, I want to blow it out, and when I blow it out, my personal energy, my intention is on my breath, and as I blow it, I watch the smoke as it weaves up, let my spell begin. It's the physical representation of your spell weaving. That is perfectly alright. There aren't really too many rights or wrongs, it's what feels best for you. Always think of how you are going to extinguish your flame. Even if you intend and you think, well, I've only got a really tiny, what they call spell candles, they're more this size, think a bit longer. Because you may decide, no, I'm going to sit and watch it, but supposing there's an emergency, the doorbell rings, the front doorbell goes, dog barks, somebody calls out, and you have to leave. If you've already thought of, okay, if there's an emergency and I need to blow out my candle, how can I do it? Then you've covered yourself if you're not going to sit and watch it. Then, depending on whether, as I said, you're going to keep doing it for a couple of nights to build up the power, something this large, when my son was doing his writing his dissertation, I had one this size through the months, and I kept each night. I would light it, I would think of him, I would see him writing it, I would envisage the grade I knew he wanted to get, and it worked, he got it. Okay, so that's it. That is spell, that is casting a candle spell. Yes, if this was a candle course or a candle workshop, I would have gone into great detail, more detail. I would have explained the different types of candles we have, the different uses they can be used for, using different things to make candles with, reading the flame of a candle, reading the wax of a candle. But as I said, if you're able to, come to my candle workshop. So I hope that has given you an insight, not just how to perform a spell, but the reason of the background behind it. If you are going to do this seriously, you need to understand, you need to have that foundation knowledge, which is the handout that I've given you. Next time, we are going to look at knot magic. So knot magic, that's literally when you make a knot. So think of any material that you can make a knot in, whether it is your hair, a shoelace, ribbon, cord. Here I have, this is the Triple Goddess knot magic, okay? Dough, whatever. We're going to look at knot magic. We're going to look at herb correspondences and herbs in general when we are casting spells. And we are going to look, now focus, there is our different focuses, we're going to look at the focus of timing a spell, looking at the moon, looking at the day, looking at the time of day. And we are going to look at how we raise energy through chants, through music, through sound, through drumming, through clapping our hands. Keeping in mind that a lot of you, it might be that you are performing spells maybe in the quiet, so that people in your house don't hear, especially as we're all on top of each other at the moment. So it's very practical, the way of doing these